Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we will talk about Vladimir Putin. Who is Vladimir Putin? Is he a good person or not? So Putin has been the president of Russia since May 7, 2012, and recently his name went viral because of his invasion of Ukraine, which made many people dislike him and even consider him as evil. Are their assumptions correct? We're going to cover things you need to know about Vladimir Putin before you assume. This Russian state has experienced what is called a bad economic, where at the time there was interference from other countries in the destruction or economic downturn in Russia. This happened in 1998 when the Russian government said that they could no longer afford to pay their debts to foreign countries. But conditions in Russia could improve exactly 1 year later in 1999 because Russia appointed Vladimir Putin as its first deputy prime minister. After being given the position, he immediately took steps to investigate financial cases in Russia so that he was able to uncover where the lacks caused the Russian economy to plummet and gradually improve Russia's finance. Like, oh my god, he just took office and immediately showed his achievement. In addition, Russia is also experiencing an economic crisis again, but here Putin is not yet president. Russia has a fairly large and largest debt to the Paris Club, and that's when Vladimir Putin was trusted to lead Russia to become a president in 2000. During his tenure, he managed to improve the Russian economy by paying off Russia's debts in 2005 to 2006, and all his country debts were paid off. It could be said that he paid off his country debts in a very large amount within 1 year. Very impressive. And lastly, as we know that Vladimir Putin is being talked about a lot, the war between Russia and Ukraine has erupted. But actually, why did all this happen? Why did Russia attack Ukraine? And is it true that the Third World War is in sight? Actually, to understand this, we have to look back. What is certain is that experts believe that this conflict is actually centered on one person, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. Last year, Putin published an article. Essentially, he told how Russia and Ukraine come from the same roots. So they are like compatriots. Moreover, they have also been members of a super large country called Uni-Soviet. But in the past, after the Second World War, the Uni-Soviet was like a giant territory. That's why Western countries united to form a military gang that became a match. Its name was NATO. These two giants decided of Cold War, until finally the Uni-Soviet splits, and Putin saw this split as a major disaster. His nightmare was made even more real when he saw countries close to Russia over time join NATO. What about Ukraine itself? From the first, many residents there would slowly want to side with the West. That's why in the past, when their president was away from the West and even closer to Putin, the people were angry. They held a big demonstrations and removed their leader. 5 years, 5 years later, someone with a comedian background has won the trust to become president of Ukraine. Since then, it has also turned out that Ukraine is actually closer to NATO. We need to know that NATO has a regulation like one member is attacked, all other members will go to war. Which is NATO will create a military base in Ukraine, which is considered a threat to the existence of Russia. According to Putin, the West had betrayed Moscow by violating a verbal commitment made at the end of the Cold War that NATO would not expand eastward. The alliance, the US and its allies, denies that any such promise were made. Saying this in a show of force, Russia has deployed more than 100,000 troops around the Ukraine border and demands several requests, including NATO must withdraw its troops and weapons from the countries close to Russia and NATO may not add more new members. From that, we can conclude that Putin's decisions to attack Ukraine was not because he was an evil or something bad, but because he wanted to protect his own country. So, how? You still call Putin a bad person? Guys, he only wants to maintain the security of the existence of the country he is leading. He's actually a good person and also has high nationalism. I'm Nabilla Amanda. Thank you and bye bye.